So I understand that you work a lot with the hybrid program and the hybrid children.
Yes, I
Um,
have.
you
That
have,
is
okay.
something I've explored. Yes.
So I'm wondering, what is my connection with that? 'Cause-
You've donated genetics. You've given rise to hybrid children. You have been abducted by Greys multiple times. Your
Hmm.
DNA has been extracted multiple times. It's been utilized to create different generations of hybrid beings. As you evolve, your DNA becomes more refined and it's then harvested. So I'm not the one doing the harvesting. I have simply interacted with different hybrids whom have been created as a side effect of this program. They are quite interesting in nature. For they are human like you, but they are also something incredibly different, something
Mhm.
that has never been, something that as a result of this is trying to get to know itself, just as all of you are.
What makes, I mean, I know, I understand there's many hybrid beings, that humans are hybrid beings. So what exactly makes these hybrid beings so much, unique?
Because you're a, well, we're going to unpack this a little bit. Not all hybrid beings are the same. Do not generalize hybrids. Otherwise, you're in a sense stereotyping.
Okay.
So keep this in mind. The first thing we'll say is hybrid children are a mix of human and what you call grays. Human and gray are very different.
Hmm.
Very, very different. They are not similar at all. You have a full emotional spectrum. Grays do not. You experience love in profound ways. Most grays do not. You are capable of empathy. Most grays are not. Some are. Some are capable of love, but many of them are completely numb to these qualities. They are hyper intellectual. They are hyper psychic. Their consciousness can penetrate into many dimensions, many realms. The hybrid children that are created through this program are a blend of these things. They are something that has never been before. They are the first of their kind. And they are also being raised by grays.
Hmm.
So their upbringing, you could say, is a little one-sided because of this. And to balance this, they are beginning to telepathically connect and communicate with many of you because the beings raising them represent that gray dimension that we described. And these hybrid children feel within themselves that there's much more to them than that. So they're working to get to know themselves. And that's why they're reaching out to many of you to get a more complete picture of what they are, where they come from, and what their purpose ultimately is. For they have a destiny, just as all of you do, just as the grays do. And they are discovering what that is now. Keep in mind they're children as well. You're aware of what it's like to be a child, how fragile and significant those early developmental years can be. That's what they're going through. So their existence is very, very different than yours, than that of the grays. Their existence is something completely unique and quite novel, quite new.
Are they all children, or wouldn't some be older than
They're
children?
older now. Yes. Yes. There are some that are in their 40s, some that are in their 50s in that way, in terms of the hybrids that exist in your time frame. Remember, hybrids have been brought to different frequencies of space and time. Entire hybrid species have been engineered from this program. What you call Sasani is the result of this program. The beings you call Sasani are created now in terms of your experience of linear time. They're brought into the future and they evolved in a future reality. And then through the idea of what you might call time travel, have begun accessing your world. The same is the case for the Yahyel in terms of that hybrid species, which many of you have been told about. The same idea is the case here. That species is created now, but they're brought into what you would consider to be the future. They're given a terraformed world where they grow and develop. And then once they reach a certain stage in evolution, they're capable of contacting you now. So not only do these beings have the ability to interact with you, their ancestors, but they also have the ability to interact with the founder members of their species through interacting with this frequency of space and time, because the founder members of their species are being created now. Does that make sense?
It does. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So why would they, if all time is now, especially to beings such as yourself who exist on your frequency, why would you be brought into the future when there really is no future?
There is a future, but it's relative. For example, if we were to open up a portal and we brought you 100 years into your future, things would be quite different, yes?
Yes.
You would be quite different, yes?
Yes.
You would have different possibilities available to you, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So this is why.
Okay.
Opens up the door to different possibilities. Remember, at a certain point, you will be asked to abandon your intellectual understandings of these things. Look at them directly, and it'll make sense. If you try to look at it through logical, intellectual understanding, as many of you do, you'll really be looking at a wall. See it for what it is, and you'll see why it is the case. You'll see what's possible. Intellectual logic is different than the logic you discover through direct experience. That's what you're being asked to step into. This is why we suggested earlier, abandoning all things you have heard about us so you can experience this fresh. We recommend doing the same thing with your life. Abandon what you have heard about life, experience life fresh so you can really live instead of living in a box of ideas, which will keep you trapped. This is how many people live, and it suffocates them. This is why you see so many people unhappy, because instead of interfacing with life force directly, they have to look through a dirty window.